Hi, this is GLORIA GAYNOR, and you're listening to iHeart Radio with David Serero.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Welcome on the Culture News. My name is David Serero, and I have the pleasure and honor today on iHeart Radio to have the Queen, the Goddess, the amazing, the icon, the legend, my Queen, my Princess, the greatest woman in the world, after others, of course, the one and only. I love this woman. God is good. Let me tell you, God is good. The one and only. Today, over the phone, the gorgeous GLORIA GAYNOR. How are you, GLORIA?
I am great, thank you. Blessed and highly favored.
Oh, my dear. Thank you so much, GLORIA. You cannot imagine how much I love my life right now. I love my life right now. You know, so first of all, I want to tell you, to tell you how much I adore you. I worship you. Not just as an artist, but as a person, all the things that you have done, all the philanthropy that you have done, we're going to talk about all of that, all the great things that you have done, and how many people have, I would say, danced and had beautiful memories while listening to you. So the first question I would like to ask you, my beloved GLORIA, is how does it feel when people tell you, oh, my God, I've danced on your music, I danced on your song, your music means so much to me, and I'm not even starting to talk about songs like I Am What I Am, songs like I Will Survive, which connect to so many people. Tell us, how does it feel to be GLORIA GAYNOR?
It feels wonderful. It really does. Because when people tell me the stories of things that have happened to them in their lives and how difficult times have befallen them, and they find their way through with the help of the song I Will Survive, it adds meaning and purpose to my life. And so it's very encouraging to me.
And it is for many, many, many people. So you coming today with this phenomenal album. You know, I'm listening to it all the time. Like probably, you know, on all the millions of people who have listened to it, probably 500,000 comes from me and my family, you know. So this beautiful album called Testimony, which is really, I would say, a tribute to this gorgeous music that is such an important part of the American culture, this beautiful music, gospel music. And I've listened to all your albums over and over, and I have the feeling, and forgive me if I'm wrong, but this album, yet knowing that you did all these wonderful classics albums, you know, I'm thinking that this is such a personal album, perhaps even one of the most personal albums that you have ever done, GLORIA.
You're absolutely right. You are so right. The album is pretty much autobiographical.
And you can feel it because all the songs, even the way they were chosen and put together in the correct order in the album, they felt like you were telling a story, you know. So it starts with Amazing Grace, and my God, I mean, you believe in the Lord. The second you listen to that beautiful track, and then it follows with Back on Top, He Won't Let Go, Joy Comes in the Morning, Only You Can Do, Singing Over Me, talking about Jesus, Take My Hand, Precious Lord, Men of Peace, Day One. There is also a lot of beautiful talent, including Yolanda Adams. Tell us tell us how that album, my dear GLORIA, how that album came together and what made you want to record a gospel album.
Well, I've wanted to record a gospel album for many years, pretty much ever since I fell in love with Jesus. I wanted to do a gospel album, but I had management at the time who was more concerned with the money that would be coming in than they were about my desires for my career. So they kept putting it off, and it just never happened with them. But I have new management now who respects me and my desires and design for my own life and career. So that's why it's happened now. I mean, I really believe it's just God's timing, because I did put out an album before, even with this management. And, you know, when you run out ahead of God, you end up out there alone, and that's what happened. So it didn't do anything. Nobody got to hear it, didn't get any publicity, didn't get any airplay or anything. And so it just kind of flopped. And now this is God's timing. And so things are going great.
And they are. And thank God this, you know, today is possible, you know, thanks to you, my dear Gloria. So, and I must stress something, how the production of that album is superb, you know. And one thing that I realized in any of your albums, and perhaps it is a little bit naive for me to say, and forgive me for that, but I always hear the musicians playing, you know, you hear the musicians, you hear the background singers. Is it for you important when you do an album to be also very involved with how the musicians can express themselves, that it's not, you know, you didn't really fall in the new easy things with the new technology, with the machine playing everything, but you really want to stick to the beautiful traditional way of playing these gorgeous music? Is it part of your desire, my dear Gloria?
Absolutely, it's part of my desire and my design for this album, because whenever I've been asked what is what I feel is the major difference between music today and music from when I first began to record, and I invariably say, because I really believe it to be true, that it is the spontaneous creativity that can only happen between live musicians playing together and inspiring one another. So that's what I wanted on this album, and that's what we got. Chris Stevens was happy, my producer was happy to do that. And as a matter of fact, he brought it up to me before I brought it up to him. And because I didn't even know if it was possible to do that there, but he found this wonderful studio in Tennessee, RCA Recording Studios, the Studio B, where so many wonderful artists have created wonderful music recording there before me. So that was quite an honor, and what a blessing to be able to do that.
And what a blessing it is for us to listen to this music. You know, it's probably my producer mind that is talking, but I'm hearing, you know, in this album a musical, because all these songs work so well together, so perfectly arranged, you know, and I want to meet your drummer. I want to meet your your brass section, because wow, these people, they hit, like, you know, they have dynamite, you know, in their arms. That is for sure. It's really a beautiful album, and trust me, whoever and a lot of people are already buying it, and rightfully, because it is a superb album. It is really a pure demonstration of love, pure demonstration of professionalism, and we hear your work ethics. You mentioned something very important in your answer about the way you always involve yourself in terms of I would say the production and the vocal production. And there is something that really defined you in 1979 when you recorded this. I don't know how even to call it, beyond the classic, you know, I Will Survive. At that time, I believe we were in 1979, you know, you had tons of background vocals, you had tons of effects, people they were recording in a mid-tempo, then after they were pushing it in a higher tempo to have the voices to sound a little bit higher. But you, for the first time, we heard this gorgeous woman who was grabbing the mic like, you know, you're grabbing a torch of fire, you know, like the Statue of Liberty, beautiful as ever, and singing without any, I would say, background vocals, without any effect, but just the lyrics, just the beauty of your singing. And yet the song is in minor, yet the song, I would say, could be the lyrics of, a slow dancing, but yet it was put in all of that. How that whole song, that whole, I would say, concept that literally changed, because after that opened the door to Shalimar, that opened the door to, songs like Shane, et cetera, et cetera. So how that whole concept of I Will Survive was brought to you together to come to the way we know it?
Well, that was really the genius of Freddie Perrin and Dino Fakaris, because they were from Motown. They'd done wonderful recordings with wonderful artists with great voices, and they tried to keep them pure and help people allow people to hear the essence of the beauty of the vocals and the creativity of the musicians and all of that. So they were used to doing that because that was their way, and I was so pleased that they didn't want to put any background vocals on I Will Survive, because that song, the lyrics are so important that you don't really need any interference coming from anything. So just to keep it pure and whole was their idea, and I'm really happy for that.
And of course, I invite everyone to read your beautiful autobiography called I Will Survive. I'm producing producing a show that is about disco music now in New York. It's called Lost in the Disco, and I co-wrote it with a famous film director called Lisa Azuelos in France. And so it's a love story where you have disco classics, but the moment when we have I Will Survive, just when the arpeggio of I Will Survive starts,
in the beginning,
the audience, that's it. The show starts really when people hear that song. What do you think? Because, there are many songs out there, but no one had that impact. And I believe this is your really phenomenal, and I really mean that, phenomenal interpretation where really you put the I would say the emphasis on each word, and you put the meaning into it, such as songs like I Am What I Am, which could be on everyone's T-shirt. I Will Survive. Yesterday, I performed for a cancer research gala, and I sat with some people, and I tell them today that I have the honor of interviewing you, and they told me, these are cancer survivors, and they told me, I want you to say to Madam Gaynor, because to me you're Gloria, but to many people, Madam Gaynor, they said, tell her how that song I Will Survive and her interpretation meant to us when we were diagnosed by, having cancer or a terrible disease, and we heard that song, I Will Survive. Like it's like an anthem to, I would say, to survival. Did you know when you recorded that song that it would have such impact nearly 40 years later?
Well, when I first read the lyrics, because I went out to record another song that had been chosen by the record company president, and when I asked the producers what the B-side would be, they said to me, well, what kind of songs do you like to sing? And I said, well, I like songs that are meaningful, that have good lyrics, that touch people's hearts, that have good melodies. And they said, we think you're the one we've been waiting for to record this song we wrote 2 years ago. So I've always believed that God went to them and said, look, sit down, write this song, hold on to it, I'm going to send you somebody. I really believe that this song was written for me. And so when I read the lyrics, they wrote it down for me. And I read the lyrics. I said to them, what are you, nuts? You're going to put this on the B-side? I said, this is a hit lyric. This is a timeless lyric. And they said, well, that's the deal we made. I said, well, it's left to me. It won't remain on the B-side. Because I was at that moment standing there in a back brace. I'd had surgery on my spine a few months prior and was recovering in a back brace. And I was relating that situation to the song. I was also relating to the song the fact that my mother had passed away just a few years prior, and that was something I really had great difficulty surviving. And so I felt like whatever you're going through that you think might be insurmountable and hope you'll survive, you're going to relate to this song, to these words, I will survive. And so, yeah, I did believe that the song would last for as long as it would be played. Now, did I think that it would be played for 40 years? No. No, when you're 20-something years old, you don't think about 40 years later. But I felt that it would be enjoyed, liked, and accepted, taken to heart by people who heard it for as long as it would be played.
Oh, and I tell you something. I went to nightclubs all over the world, and I, as you can hear with my terrible accent, I was born in Paris, in France, and over there, people in every club, not just I Will Survive, but they know all your discography, all your the Christmas things that you've done, I believe it was at the Vatican, all these amazing things that you have done. And I must say, because you're kind of like all the great people, you're very discreet and very modest about giving back to other people, but you do, and I think these actions should be said. You're helping a lot of charity. You using also, your voice or talent for many benefits organization, including when there was the Hurricane Harvey on the state of Texas in August 2017. You rewrote the lyrics of I Will Survive to the title Texas Will Survive. So that's really, all these beautiful things that you have done. And it's really, really, truly an honor. So before we are arriving toward the end of this wonderful interview, but I want to talk more about this amazing album, Testimony. How did you come up to that title, which is appropriate, which is your testimony to God? Is that what you wanted to say?
It is definitely my testimony of the love, the mercy, the grace, the peace, the joy of God in my life.
Wow. And we definitely feel all of that. So, my dear Gloria, before we start to say goodbye to each other, I want you to know that we are going to play, folks, on iHeart Radio, all the album of Testimony. There is not one song from that album which we will not be playing. This is really a masterpiece, perhaps one of the greatest gospel albums I have ever heard.
Thank you.
So meaningful, so beautiful, and I invite everyone to purchase it on iTunes, to listen to it with our dear friends at Spotify and other platforms. My dear Gloria, I want you to know from the bottom of my heart, I really appreciate and value your time. I love you. I love you. You are my queen. You're the queen of every music. You're really a godsend, really. And I want you to know that you mean so much to everyone with your music, with your talent, with your presence, with your generosity. I love you. I mean, I can talk for hours, but I'm going to give you an earful, But I really, really love you. I can't thank you enough for being with us today, my dear Gloria.
It's been my great pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, be ready to hear a lot of tracks from the wonderful album, Testimony of the gorgeous Gloria Gaynor. We're going to start with Amazing Grace, followed by Back on Top. Right after we follow a lot of beautiful, beautiful tracks. Stay tuned for more music on iHeart Radio. Thank you.